There you go.
Oh, hi everyone. Welcome to Gloria Horn Sewing Studio. It is, what is today? Tuesday, February 24th. Can you believe it? We're at the end of February already. Um, the year is already going by so quickly. End of February, like next week is March. Um, and on Tuesday afternoons, we are doing Bernina. Bernina, yes. So we're glad to have you all here. We're going to do a couple machines today. We have our Burnett straight stitch machine back here. So that one is a machine made by Bernina. It is our straight stitch machine. So it does, and when I say it only does a straight stitch, that's kind of deceiving because it's so oftentimes like, what stitch do we use the most? Like a straight stitch. So having a machine that's just focused or just does that straight stitch um, is is um, is a really great machine to have. Like we I know there's people out there that love their featherweights. And what does the featherweight do? It only does a straight stitch, and it does such a phenomenal straight stitch that people like follow that machine and love that machine because it's their little featherweight machine from Singer. But this is like one of those machines. It's sort of like a heavy duty machine that does a straight stitch. It'll trim your threads for you. It's got a nice reverse. So for bag making or just for straight piecing, it's a really fast machine. So it's a really nice one, and it's on special this month, which is really great for only a few more days. So we wanted to make sure you guys have the opportunity to take advantage of that special if this machine is right for you. Um, we also have our Bernina 790 Pro behind us. We aren't able to put this one in the bubble, but you can call us and find out more about this one. We're going to be kind of going over a few of the features of this one today. The Bernina 790 is right below the Bernina 990. It's the second one down. It has that same feature for you to do the pinpoint placement for quilting. So you can do that 4-point morph is what we call it. So you can pick the points and it'll morph your pattern, quilting pattern to fit in that shape. So we really love that about this machine. This is the biggest hoop here. And it has that crank style hoop. This is the jumbo. Is this the jumbo? No. I think this is a maxi. I think it's a maxi hoop. So this is the maxi hoop. So you can do a nice size quilt block on this. I have this little quilt block here that I've drawn out for us that I'm gonna show you. I tried to contact you about the Bernina free arm hoop, Peggy. I gotta figure out what Peggy needs with that because they're still on special now too. But this machine takes that. You can use that free arm hoop with this one as well. Do we have that in the lineup today? The free arm hoop. We should definitely add it in. If we don't, we'll show you what that is. Our phone number is 412-344-2330. Option 2 rings right to me, so I can help you. But with this, like this is a sample that I had done on. This one was done on the 990, but you can do the similar thing on this 790 Pro behind us. So we happen to have an open box version of the 790 Pro available. A customer wanted this machine. We had ordered it in for her. And something happened in her. Something happened in life. You know, sometimes things happen, and you have to cancel your order. And that's what happened with this one here. So we have a great opportunity for someone who wants to get a machine like this Bernina 790 Pro, an unbelievable deal. I can't tell you how good the deal is here, but you can call me and you can find out about this one back here. But this one has that pinpoint placement as well, like the sample we did here. So we're going to work on this little quilt sandwich here, and we're going to go around and place some designs on this. So I drew this block in, so there's just a center block in the middle here. There's a couple sashings to look at and a couple cornerstones. If you look at this closely, it's wonky. Like nothing's square. It's kind of, I drew it that way on purpose because I want to really work on that morph for it to morph our patterns in there. And then also, I think we should add in the spring event too. To talk about that because we'd love to have more people sign up. We have some openings available. So if you haven't signed up for our spring event yet, We invite you to do that. We're going to throw that in the bubble so you guys can sign up for that. We're going to have the top of the line Baby Lock and Brother machines there. So the Radiance and Avenir are going to be there in a classroom. We're going to have the top of the line Bernina 990 in a classroom. We're going to have Bernina's Top Surger, the L890 in the classroom. So you're going to be like the opportunity to work on 4 different top of the line machines from several different manufacturers, which is pretty exciting to have all those high-end machines at one event. So we just put it in the bubble now. It's our spring event at the Crown Plaza here in Pittsburgh. You come and you visit us for at least 2 days. It's 2 days of sewing. There'll be 4 classrooms. And there's only about 15 people in each classroom at the most. So you get a lot of attention. So they aren't real big classes where you get lost and aren't able to get your questions answered, or it's too big of a classroom for you to see the front of the room and stuff like that. So there's only 15 people in a classroom. We serve you a really nice lunch both days. There's breakfast at the hotel. So if you're coming from out of town or even local staying, you can stay at the hotel. They have a really great group rate for us available. We always have an evening of private shopping back here at the shop. The first evening you attend, we have like drinks and hors d'oeuvres here. You come back and you kind of get to be able to see the store and stuff like that. So if you haven't signed up, please take advantage of getting signed up. It's coming up here in April. So the 14th and 15th, that's a Tuesday, Wednesday. We definitely have days, spots available there. And then the last day, Monday and Tuesday, of the following week, April 20th and 21st. So the event's going to go set up on Monday the 13th. We do Tuesday, Wednesday with one group, Thursday, Friday with another group, and then Saturday, Sunday we're off. And I'll tell you why, because there's a couple bar mitzvahs going on, and they were already scheduled and planned. So they couldn't move those dates. So we have to work around kind of the Crown Plaza schedule too. So then we're going to come back Monday, Tuesday the following week for our last session. So there's still spots available. And I would love for everyone to come. I'm going to be teaching a class with little Deb. Her and I are going to be in the Bernina 990 classroom. So with all the events we've had, I'm usually running around like helping and floating and stuff like that. So I'm going to be in a classroom the whole time, which is kind of fun. So I'm looking forward to working with everyone there. So if you haven't signed up, please do. It'll be a wonderful time. And then Bernina has, and I just sent out the last one we had in stock. I ordered like 20 of these hoops. So the large free arm embroidery hoop. It is Bernina's accessory of the month. So it is half price. So even if you don't own a Bernina, and you're thinking about getting one, this hoop works from the 5 series up. So 5 series, 7 series, 9 series, it all works on this for that free arm embroidery. It's half price, people. So it's like a no-brainer. So if you want to get that, you only have a few days left. I ordered, I think ordered like 28 of these hoops or something, like close to 30 of these hoops, because they were such a great deal, because we're going to be using that at our spring event as well. So grab one of those hoops while you still can at that half price. Bernina price, their stuff doesn't go on sale normally. So when it does, it's a big deal. So that large free arm hoop is great. It's a 6x10 hoop size, which is really nice for the free arm embroidery. So if you have a Bernina, go ahead and grab that hoop. I've used it to do bags and different things that you can't take apart, and it's a nice size hoop. But we're going to be working with the maxi hoop. So this one doesn't always come with all the machines. We can throw this one in the bubble. This is the maxi hoop. This one is 15, almost 16 inches by, hover over that for me real quick. Let me see the rest of that. So 15 3/4 by 8 1/4 is this hoop here, okay? And these ones have the ratchets, which I love on here. So how this works is we're gonna squeeze right here, and it just loosens the hoop up, okay? So you're gonna take that top portion out, and we're gonna position this bottom portion under here. And we are going to, I think, what we'll do is let's start with the center. Let's start with the easiest one first. So we're just going to start with the center there. So I'm just feeling where our hoop's at underneath there to try to get this center block centered up. And we'll probably be able to do the center here and one of these sashings down here for the first part that we hoop up. So I'm going to just put this inside like that and push it down. So there's pushed down like that. So our hoop's in there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the crank and you're just going to turn that crank, and you'll hear it like click, like a hard click. That means it's tightened. So then what you're going to do is just kind of pull, just make sure everything's nice and tight. And then what I like to do is I like to just push that hoop down a little bit so everything's in place, and then just grab that knob again and give it a little crank, and there it's tightened up all the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to be able to put a block pattern right in the center here, and then we're going to be able to do one of the sashing pieces here with this before we have to rehoop again. So we are going to go over to our 790 Pro. Remember, this one is an open box machine, so it's available at a really great price. You got to call and find out. But this is almost the top machine in Bernina. This is a new one that just came out. They just released it because of so there was a 790 Plus, and this is the 790 Pro. So this is the most current one. It has the automatic needle threader. It has the pinpoint laser, the 4-point morph for placing quoting designs and things like that. So this is a great machine, and it's got all the sewing capabilities of the Bernina. It has that dual feed, so you can drop down that dual feed for sewing and stuff like that. But it's a really awesome machine, and I'm glad I got a chance to work on it today and stuff. So we're going to look at quilting this up a little bit. So we're going to head over to the machine. Okay, so we are, can I see the screen really well? I'm trying to focus. Just for, do you want to do the screen for a second, and then, and then we'll come over to the, to see the hoop too. That's perfect, yep. Okay, good. So there's the screen on this one. It's a large 7-inch screen centrally located on our machine on the Bernina here. And we're getting a better angle for you. That's okay. Okay. Good. So this is the main screen that comes up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a design in to quilt, and we just need a block pattern for the center of this to start. So we're going to go to our plus sign here, and we're going to choose a block pattern. So let's just go back for a second here to our embroidery designs. So the Bernina breaks the embroidery designs down into different categories here for us to work with. So like even under this one, there's like some holiday designs. So like the snowman look really great. The Santa there. Let's go back. Let's see, what's this postcard? So different postcard designs, which are neat. So you can add some lettering in there too. Let's go. Let's in 6. I like the flamingo. That's pretty. So 3 different pages designs here with stuff, some animals and things. Oh, look, the cat's cute there. Oh, that bunny's really cute too for Easter. But what we're going to work with is some of these quilting designs here. So I'm going to choose the quilting design. Oh, I got to show you one more thing. So in this tab, in category 1, look at this little monster that you could put above a pocket. Isn't that really cute? You could put a little monster on a little kid's pocket. I thought that was really cute. So for now, I'm just going to delete that now. And let's go back into our plus sign, and we're going to go and we're going to pull up our quilting designs. So tab 2 is where our quilting designs are. Now you can bring any kind of long arm quilting designs into this machine to use, or you can utilize the ones that are built in. So we're going to choose a nice block pattern for the center of our block here. So these are some different edge-to-edge patterns that are included, some border prints, but let's see if we can find a good block pattern for our edge-to-edge. I think I might use one of these here, maybe 55. Yeah, I think I'm going to use 55 for the block pattern for this one. So let's choose that one. Let's choose 55. So there's our block pattern that we're going to use. And I'm going to tell the machine to just go to the center of the design. So now our laser drop point is in the center of our design. And the block that I have drawn onto the fabric, are you allowed to tell the price of the 990? I can, but not here. You gotta call me and we can talk about it more. So you can call me at 412-344-2330 option 2. Call me and we can talk about it some more about what we're going on with that Bernina 990 price. So this design, it says down here in the corner, it's 3.7 inches by 3.7 inches. I know my block design is about 6 by 6. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to change the size of the design to match more of our block pattern. So I'm going to hit the resize button, and I'm just going to increase our size up to be around 6.6, 6 by 6. So that's closer there. So I'm happy with that. Plus, I want to move that design so that this laser drop point here is closer to the center. So I'm just going to move our design up a little bit, and then now that laser drop point is down in the center of our design. And then the next thing is just placing the design with our 4-point placement. So I'm going to hit the eye to open up this side, and then it's this button right here. That's our 4-point, and this is the morph version, so that's what we want because we want the pattern to morph for us. And then on each of the corners here, what we're going to do is I'm going to tap on one of the corners. There it goes. And we're going to take that lower right corner, and we're just going to move that laser drop point to sink it right into the corner there. So the laser drop point, it's a really sharp, fine point. It's really easy to see when you're sitting right here. It might not show right up on the video. Oh, I see it. I see a little drop point. It's right there. So we're going to take that little drop point, and it is right here. I'm going to point to it on here so you guys can see right where it's at. But it is that. It's right there. That little drop point right there. Okay, it's real precise. So we're going to take that and we're going to move that down, and we're going to move that over, and I'm going to kind of bury it into that corner. Just give ourselves a little bit of cushion there, but it's pretty close to the corner because I want to see how close we can get. So that's the first one, and we're just going to go around and do each one. Oh, let's see what I did. Let's try that again. Let's undo that, undo. Let's move that back up here. Let's do our 4-point placement again. Okay, so we're going to do the top left first. So we're going to put that in. Okay, so there's our first corner. And then our next corner here. You can get so precise with this laser exactly where it's going to drop down. We've got to do all 4. This is similar to what you can do with a long arm quoting machine if you have the robotics, which isn't available on any other machines besides the Bernina like this. The 990 and the 790 Pro are the 2 machines that you can work like this with. So, okay, so we placed all 4 of our points there on our design. So now we're just going to go ahead and stitch that out. So I'm going to just hit our sew button there so it's ready to sew. And then I'll just hit a green button here again. And it's going to sew for us. It's a really smooth sounding machine. I like the way it sounds when it's sewing. Um, Berninas are known for their quality and stitch quality coming out of their factories in Switzerland. And this machine is no exception to that. So it's almost done here. And just looking at this, it looks like I must have bumped something because it's not exactly where I wanted it to be. So good thing this is practice. Practice makes perfect. We're gonna revisit this. We've got other sections of our little quilt block here to do. So we're gonna see what I did wrong as to why it didn't fit exactly in our little square like we wanted it to. So I must have bumped a button. I didn't know because it just these points were supposed to be down in here, perfectly placed, and we are just quite a bit off there. So I must have bumped a button when I was doing this. Because our placement's supposed to be perfect. So we're gonna check on that, and we're gonna just this bottom section down here. We're gonna put a pattern down in here to start, and we're gonna do it again. So we will on the screen here. We're gonna hit our finish flag because we're finished with that design for now, and we're just gonna go back to our editing. And we're just going to delete that pattern off the screen. So I'm going to take the pattern, swipe it to the left there, and we're just going to delete it away. So we're going to pull up our a design. So I'm going to hit the plus sign here. And I'm going to grab, I think this design right here. And we're going to take that design and we're going to place it with a couple in a row in this little session right down here. So we need to add designs to that. So we need to, I want to duplicate that design here so we can duplicate it with, not that one. Let's go back here. Here's our copy button. So we're going to copy that one, and we didn't want it copied there. So let's delete the second one there. And I'm going to just, for a second, we're going to rotate this so it's that way. And then we're going to come back and we're going to duplicate that design. So we got one below it, and we need one more, so I'm going to duplicate again. So now we got 3 in a row there. I'm actually going to just move this design up a little bit so it matches the other design right there. And we're going to take that bottom one, and we're just going to move it up a little bit so it matches our design there. And then we're going to select everything that's on our screen here, and let's rotate everything as a whole back this direction. There we go. And then we're going to take that design and we're going to do our 4-point placement again. So that is this button right here. And we want morph. And we're going to go ahead and place this here. So let's try it again. So we hit this top corner, and that is going to go over. You might have to do set after you choose the location. Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate that help there. So we're going to move that point inside our block here. We're going to assign all 4 of these. And last corner to do. Okay, so there's all those. So we have it set right where we want it. And then let's go to our sewing. So I'm going to hit our sewing button there. And then I want it to continue on without stopping. So I'm going to use this button here. So now it'll continue on. And that one, so it's no color changes, so it's just going to sew right through. So let's give this one a sew and see how it turns out here. That one worked perfect. Okay, I'm very happy with that one. That landed right where we wanted it to in that perfect spot, so that's great. So to get our other designs in here, I'm going to, we're going to rehoop right up here at the table. So I'm going to go back up to the table here and take our hoop out. And we are going to pop our hoop open. Now the center block, don't look at the center block, because it didn't land right where we wanted to, but that's okay. We are going to, we'll do another cornerstone here, another cornerstone, and a sashing on this side. To take a look at this one, we'll see how this works out here. So I have my hoop, my pattern that's hooped up in the center there, just like that. I'm going to take this hoop and put this over top. And then we're just going to give our hoop a tighten. And it's nice and tight. Everything looks good. And we're ready to go. I love the hooping system on the Berninas. Having that crank system really makes it easy to get your hoops, your project hooped up there pretty easily. So we're going to go back over the machine. Okay. And then when you're working with patterns like this that you want to do, we've taken that pattern and we have adjusted it, we've morphed it and things like that. So you don't want to use that same pattern again to place in your next section, because it's not going to be, you aren't going to be able to line it up because that pattern is morphed, the shape of it, because of how we placed it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete that group of patterns and we're just going to bring them back in and we're going to do it again. So I'm going to hit our plus sign there. And then it goes right to the pattern that you had. So I'm going to go right to that one. And in fact, we can probably, let's see if there's another pattern we can choose just to mix it up here a little bit. Maybe this pattern right here. Maybe we'll put that pattern in this block here. And I'm thinking we can probably fit maybe 3 of them in that section. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to edit the pattern there and I'm going to resize it down. So I'm going to do resize, and I know this is like maybe 2.5 inches. Let's just double check that and see what size this is. It's about 2.5 inches, a little bit more, a little bit bigger. So we're going to do resize, and we need that to be 2.5 inches. So let's size it down. So that's closer to 2 by 2. Let's go ahead and rotate the pattern 90 degrees that way. And then let's just take the pattern and move it up in our hoop. Okay, closer to there. And then we need to duplicate that pattern. So we're going to duplicate it. We got one there. One more. And then I just want to zoom in and see, okay, the patterns are connected nice because right where it ends is where it picks up. So that's great. So that's good. So let's zoom back out. And then we're going to place that pattern in our box here. So we're going to do our 4-point placement. So let's group them all together and then do our 4-point placement. So there's 4-point placement with morph. We're going to choose the top right corner, and that's right there, close to it. We're going to go around and assign all 4 corners. And last one in the 4-point here. So we got all 4 assigned. And then we're ready to sew. So we're going to hit our sewing button here. And then they could just see the screen one more time real quick. That's okay. A lot of back and forth with our screen to the hoop. That's okay. So on here, we wanted to sew the whole pattern all the way through like this. So I'm going to hit a couple buttons. So here's this button here that just continues it on through for us. So it's all one just color change for us. And it's just going to sew. So I think we're ready. So we'll go ahead and hit our start button here. And before we actually go, I'm going to do one more adjustment to show you. So we're going to go into our settings here. It's this little gear. And I want to tell the machine to, I want to increase the stitches per inch a little bit. So I have it set at 12 stitches per inch. I'm going to go to 14 because we took a pattern that's got like kind of tight curves. And if you think about a circle, if your stitch length is too long, it's going to look like a stop sign. You know what I mean? So if you shorten the stitch length so that you have more stitches per inch, your circle is going to become a circle and not quite a stop sign. So you can really adjust the stitches per inch with this machine. And to do that, we change it up to 14 stitches per inch. And then let's just X out of there. And then let's go back and just, we're just going to sew that now. So we'll hit our button here. I'm going to let that sew out. And I like on a Bernina that you could slow the speed down with the slider button that's just right on the face of the machine while the machine's sewing. If you need to slow down for a reason to go over a zipper or to go over a thick spot or anything like that, you're able to slow the machine down right in the front without going into settings to do it, which I think is kind of great. And stuff in my car from last night. Went to pay for it. Now it's gone. Okay, yeah, I can go with that. Amanda, I see your question. When I come up to the table, I'm gonna answer your question for you. So just hang around a couple more minutes, and I'll talk about your question there too. So we got that design, and it fit perfectly in this pattern. We put 3 of them just across there. So that's great. We were able to do that little sashing there. And then I have a cornerstone here that I want to do, and another cornerstone up here on this machine. And then we're gonna have John come in, and he's gonna talk to us about the straight stitch machine and show you some products that go along with these machines and stuff. So we got one more block pattern to do. This bottom block pattern right down here. We're gonna put a pattern in there. So on the screen here, we are just going to. Perfect. We're going to hit the finish line because we aren't doing continuous pattern. We're going to hit the finish flag, and then we're going to go back to the edit, and I'm just going to delete that pattern off our screen. So I'm going to just take it, slide it to the left there, and delete. We're going to find another pattern, so we're going to hit our plus sign, and this time we're going to choose a block pattern, and it's a pretty small block, so we might want to choose like a simple block pattern to fit in there. I think I knew which one I was doing. Let's do. Let's do this. Let's do that block pattern right there, and it's too big because I know our square is only like 2 by 2. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit our little I button for our edit. We're going to do resize. And we're going to resize that down for it to be about 2 by 2, and that's what we got there. And then I'm just going to tell the machine where the pattern is. So I'm just going to move this down to fit. Let's make it in the center of our hoop there. There's the center. And then let's move that pattern just to the center of that block there. Okay, so I got that pattern centered in our block, so we're good there. And perfect, yep, right in the center there. And then we are going to take that pattern and do our 4-point placement again. So our 4-point placement is this button right here. Morph. We're going to go around and sign all 4 points. So the top right. There's 1 point. There's that point. And last point here. Okay, so we signed all 4 points. So we're going to hit our X there. We're going to go ahead and sew this one out. So we're going to hit our sew button down here. And it's going to start. Perfect. And it didn't clip our threads. Let's go and clip our threads here. Okay. Okay. It didn't clip our threads at the end, but that's okay. So we're going to hit our finish mark there. Okay, and then we got one more pattern to do on this one. So I'm going to go back to our edit here. We're going to delete that pattern. We're going to choose a different one to put in this other block pattern. So I'm going to use, we'll use this other block pattern here. And we're going to place that one. So again, it's too big. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do our edit. And we're going to resize it down to match our block size. So we know it's 2.5 by 2.5. So that's a better size. And then we're just going to move that pattern up to be in closer to where we want to go here with this. So we're going to move this up. To the center. That's better. Okay. And then we're going to go and we're going to do our 4-point placement with our morph. So 4-point placement, morph. I'm going to choose that top right, and I'm going to put it right. I'm going to bury it down into the corners, and we're going to see how exact it gets. We'll show you on the camera overhead once we get it all set. Once it's all done stitching out. I really took that laser point and kind of put it as close to that corner as I could get. I want to see how close it gets. So usually when you're doing some quilting, you leave a little wiggle room on the edges, but this I wanted to be right in there to see how accurate it is. So we got it placed, and then let's go ahead and show this one out. This was, I feel like, a big pattern we put into a small space. So I'm going to go back into our settings, and I'm just going to increase that stitches per inch just a little bit for us. So that way, I'm just going to go up to 15. And then we're going to stitch this one out. So we'll do our sewing button there. And let's go ahead and sew this one. This machine has a lot of quilting designs built in, but you can download any of the quilting designs from designers from websites and bring them into the machine and use them this way as well with this 4-point placement. Perfect. Okay, all done with that one. Let's go up to the table here and let's look at what we kind of worked on here. So I'm going to pop this out of the hoop. So I squeeze the ratchet system. It just loosens the hoop for us. And we're going to take this away. Now, if we look at, let's look at this one right here. Zoom a little bit. So I made it so that like the laser drop point landed right in the corners, and like you can see how precise it gets in all 4 corners. It drops it right where I told it to. It morphs the pattern for it to fit right where it's supposed to. So that's awesome there, how close you're able to get with that. And even like this one down here, I did that one down there, same thing there. So you're able to really drop those designs right in there. And this block, you look at that, it doesn't look perfectly square. It's kind of wonky, and that's okay because not always are our blocks perfectly square, but it just morphs the pattern to fit in there perfectly. You have total stitch control on their Bernina, which I really love. But if you're interested in getting a machine like this that can do this, this is a great opportunity with this open box 790 Pro that we have available. And it's going to come with the maxi hoop here too, as well as the embroidery arm carrying case. is going to come with this one. And then the machine, the embroidery arm, or the embroidery module, there's a carrying case for the embroidery arm. The big book of embroidery comes with it, so there's some extra things added on under the package. So if you want to learn more about this, the one that we have like this, you can call us and we can talk to you more about it. We can get it home for you. So I'm going to bring John in, and John's going to talk to us about the straight stitch machine that we have. This is the Bernina B08 straight stitch machine, and it's a really nice heavy duty straight stitch machine, and it's on special right now, which is great. So.
All right, you know what? I'm going to actually move the machine where the 790 is at.
You
want to show anything else in the meantime?
Okay, yeah.
Just so that I could use the freehand system.
Sure, yeah. So John's going to get moved around and set up a little bit. But some of the things that we love about the Bernina is the large bobbins that come with the Bernina. So this is a pack of 5 bobbins here. So let me grab that bobbin out of here real quick. Let's do this one.
Do you need help?
I got it there. Okay, so this is the Bernina bobbin, and let's look at it compared to the. I'll lay them right down here. So the Bernina bobbin versus a normal bobbin. So it's 70% bigger than a normal bobbin. So it's like the M size bobbin. So you get a lot of bobbin, you get a lot of thread on your bobbins there. Less thread changes. And these come in different sizes. So we have the is this a 5-pack? Yeah, 5-pack of Bernina bobbins here. So 70% more on your bobbin. And the other neat thing about the Bernina is that the bobbin area is in front of the machine. It's not a top loader. So you're able to change the bobbins mid-project without removing your hoop from the project to change the bobbins out. You can just reach underneath, switch the bobbin out, and continue on without having to take out the hoop and stuff like that. Yeah, that 4-point positioning is mind-blowing. It was one of my favorite features on the Bernina, is to be able to place your designs perfect like that. And then I remember I had that question from Amanda. So Amanda, if you're out there, Amanda, the carts expire within 12 hours. So if you put things in your cart and 12 hours elapse, it takes it out of your cart for you. But if there was stuff in your cart that wasn't there, we can go in the system and we can pump it, we can drop it back into the system for you. I wonder if it shows on the app if there's like abandoned items or something. Let's see if there's a way to recall what you had in your cart at one time. Cart is empty. Oh, expired items. Okay, so if you're on the app, and that happens to you, where you had stuff in your cart and now it's gone. So here's our app, and if you go to your shopping cart here, and looks, oh no, your cart's empty, that's okay. So expired items down here, you're gonna tap expired items, and then these are all the items that you did have in your cart at one time that have expired that you're able to just go ahead and add back into your cart. So that's it, it's easy, okay, expired items, perfect. You can load that stuff right back into your cart, Amanda, so you don't miss out, okay? So bigger bobbins are great. We have a 5-pack available. And then if 5's not enough, we have a pack of, I think there's 25 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so there's 25 in this nice case. You can never have enough bobbins. All this stuff that we have today, like the hoops and the bobbins and things, you earn that 10% credit back. So that's great. You'll get some cash back to spend on your next visit with us. So Bernina 25-pack of bobbins. We also have the 5-pack. If you have a Bernina out there and you want to get the maxi hoop, the maxi hoop is 15 3/4 by 8 1/4. It's a hoop we were working with today. It has that ratchet system, which I really love. I love the hoops with the ratchet system. This one's going to come with that 790 open box that we have available. So whoever decides that they want to get that machine at the unbelievable price that we have it for, this hoop's going to come with it. It didn't come standard with the machine. We're just including it with that 790 Pro that we have available. So And then some other hoop sizes that I really like available for this machine. So there's a midi hoop. The midi hoop is, that's in centimeters. I'm not sure what that is in inches. Let's see. I can tell you real quick here. I want to find out. 26.5 cm by 16.5 cm 2 inches. Oh, 6 by 10. Okay, that was easy. It's a 6 by 10 hoop. So this is a 6 by 10 hoop. It's called the midi hoop, and it has that ratchet system available right there. So this is the 6 by 10 hoop with the ratchet available. 10% credit back on this one as well. This fits all Bernina machines from 5 series on up. So 5, 7, and 9. This one works for you. And this is the midi hoop. There is also a medium magnetic hoop. So this has that one-piece magnetic system like our dime snap hoops. But this one is a 15 by 6.5. They call it the border hoop, but you could use it for a lot more than borders. But this is a medium magnetic hoop. Got that one. Okay, medium magnetic hoop from Bernina. And that's a great price, $279. And it's 15, almost 16 by 6.5 on this one. And then another hoop we love is the jumbo hoop. Jumbo hoop. So you can use this on the 790. There's a part that it doesn't allow you to stitch in, but you can still use this hoop with the machine. But you can also use this with the Bernina 990. It is the ratchet style system. I love all these ratchet hoops. If I'd have every single ratchet hoop out there for the machine, but this is the jumbo hoop that's available for it. And then I have just a few of these left. These are Bernina fat quarters. So they have.
We still have those left. Those were limited edition.
We do. There's like maybe how many are left in there? I think there's we have 5 left.
We have 5. There's no way there's 25.
Let's do. So I think we have 5 left of these, but there is like a black houndstooth with the Bernina. There's a serger. There's the Bernina on there. There is this piecing fabric with Bernina available. This is 8 fat quarters in here. There's a white background. There's the teal background. And then the ones with the machine. So there's the one with the Bernina machines on there. There's a red background with the houndstooth Bernina machine. And then the red there. So
I love that. That
I like
fabric,
it, yeah.
That bundle is
Just
so
little
cute.
fat
That fabric
quarters.
is amazing.
So,
I love that.
Oh, good. Yep, good. Okay. So, you ready, John?
All right. Yeah. Hi,
Okay,
everyone.
take it away. Thank
How's
you,
everybody
everyone.
doing this Tuesday? Now, that was an awesome demo that Steve did today.
Call me about that 790 that's back there. Not there, but yeah, it was there. And we can get that set up with you. So, thanks, everyone.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sure Steve has a really good price on that because that's kind of my dream Bernina right there too, to be honest. I really like that one. So, speaking about machines, I have a really great machine to show you guys today, and it's the Bernina 08 straight stitch machine. And you're probably like, okay, well, John, why would I want a straight stitch only machine? And I'm going to show you guys all the exact reasons why you not only want one, but need one as an addition to your sewing room machines. Because there are so many different types of feet, so many features that you have with just a straight stitch. And if you really think about it, Steve, too, think about it. What's 99% of the sewing that we do?
I use a straight stitch.
A straight stitch. We use that for almost every single thing we construct,
I
right?
use a straight stitch.
Whether
Straight
it's
stitch.
a
Yeah.
quilt or we're making a garment or a bag, 90% of the time of what we're doing, 99% of the time, is a straight stitch. And this machine does that the absolute best compared to anything else. So I'm going to show you guys a little overview of the Bernina 08 behind me right here. It's a fantastic machine, and I'm going to show you guys some really cool techniques along as some of the feet and accessories that you could use with it, because this straight stitch machine, you can actually even use your serger attachments with it as well, which I'm going to show you guys today. So we're going to jump over here real quick, and this is the Bernina 08, and it is very quickly one of my new favorite machines, and I'm going to show you guys why. So I myself make a lot of garments, a lot of bags, and I actually have a straight stitch machine back at home along with my other machines that are combo sewing and embroidery. And sometimes whenever I'm working on a project that's a little bit more heavy duty, like this leather bag right here, I use my straight stitch to have that precision and also the torque power of the machine to really go through some of those heavy duty layers. So this Bernina is like one of those machines. So the overview here is just absolutely amazing. So if you're looking for something that's very simple and easy to use, but has the few bells and whistles that you really want on a sewing machine, like our thread cutter, like our needle up and down position, along with speed control, this is going to be the machine for you. In fact, I've had so many people come in over probably the past few months talking about, you know, these older Singer featherweights. And it's so funny. I found one that we had one actually on display, and I was comparing it, and I was like, well, there's not a whole lot of torque power here. And also, the throat space is really small on those. So this is like the modernized version of that type of machine. So let me start off from the overview here too. So we have our spool stand that collapses in the back. So you can actually have two spools here, one for your main thread and then one for your bobbin thread. And I'm going to wind a bobbin with you guys as well. And then we also have our giant jumbo foot control, and I absolutely love this thing because it's not narrow like other ones, but it's a really nice big foot control. And then we also get our knee lift, which I am going to show you guys how to use this today too. A lot of machines out there on the market, all of the Berninas, a lot of the other brands we carry like Baby Lock and Brother, most of the machines come with a knee lift, and it's a little extra special with this machine here, so I'll show you how to use that. And then you also get this nice big giant extension table, which I absolutely love. This thing is absolutely enormous. For the machine this size here, this is a giant extension table, which is a must-have. So let's wind a bobbin here, and then I'm going to show you guys how to thread it, because there's actually two separate ways you could thread on this machine, which is really nice in case if you have to accommodate for thicker top stitching threads, which I'll show a little bit later, but I don't want to confuse anybody yet. So let's wind our bobbin here. So we'll take our thread from here, we'll come up through, and then we'll go through this little loop right here. And then we'll go through our tension wheel. And then we're going to thread our bobbin. I'm going to clip my thread really quickly. And we'll thread through the inside of that bobbin right there. Just like so. We'll put this on here, and then we'll engage our bobbin winder. And then we'll hit the button right here. I'll wind a little bit. I will trim my loose thread and let it wind the rest of the way. And it winds really fast and very quiet. So that's something I really like about it, and it will automatically stop by itself too. So just like that, really easy to wind. We can snip our thread there, and we're good to go. So let me remove this little piece of thread so it doesn't get tangled. And then I'm going to show threading it. Now with our bobbin here, what's nice is this plate fully removes on the Bernina here. So on other straight stitch machines, it kind of lifts up, it gets in the way. This metal plate fully removes so that you could fully get in here to clean it, if you have to oil it, So it makes it really accessible. We could grab our bobbin casing. And then with our Bernina, or our Burnette right here, we're going to thread this. And I always say there's two ways of putting a bobbin in. You could do either P for perfect, making the letter P, or Q right here. And we're going to do a Q for putting the bobbin in. So we're going to load that in there. And then there's a little threading guide along this side right here. And we're just going to come up through that. And that's our bobbin right there. So threading it very, very similar to how you thread the Bernina bobbins. And then we're going to put this like this in this way, our bobbin casing. I said this, and this in 3 seconds. So let me rephrase that one more time.
This and this, like this.
So we're going to put our bobbin in there, and then we'll insert our bobbin casing into the bobbin area of the machine. Instead of saying this, and this. Now, you want to hear a click whenever you insert this in.
I have a personal question. So is the Q like Bernina specific? Because I load my bobbin personally as a P.
So with this specific machine, it's going to be a Q. Every machine is different. So like, you know, our Baby Locks and Brothers, usually it's a P. On this specific machine with the Bernette 08, it's going to be a Q whenever we put that bobbin case in.
Is there a way to know, or is it just you have to know once you get it?
So you'll know just by reading like the user manual. So every machine has specific. Some of the older style machines like old Sears Kenmore that we get a lot in for service, or an old, you know, white machine. I forgot about that brand until we just mentioned that. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys out there watching that have some of these older machines that we get in a lot for service, but a lot of people are looking to upgrade because you can only service those for so long until you can't get parts for. So this machine's going to have a lot of similar functions to those when it comes to the strength and durability. So we'll insert that just like that. And then I want to go over threading it, because one thing I really like specifically about the Bernette here is that you actually have an additional thread guide, which once you know how it works, it makes total sense. And it's just one of those things that it's like if you have a straight stitch machine, you would know you sometimes using certain threads like a metallic can tangle and twist, and it's not always the most fun. But I'm going to show the standard way of threading it first. So let me pull through my thread here. Now, first step we're going to do is we're going to come up from this spool pin here, go up through our thread stand, and then we are going to thread through this little hole section here. So we'll have to zoom in because you have 3 separate holes. Now, we only have to go through the first one and the last one right here. So we're going to make a little loop-de-doop. However, if you have maybe a metallic thread, something that gets tangled easily, you could go through all 3 of these holes. And that is something that I really like, because some of you guys know working with metallic threads, they get tangled easily. So that helps detangle it. Now, our second thing that we're going to do is we're going to go through our pre-tension knob right here. So we're just going to insert right through that, and you'll hear a little click. Then we're going to go through our actual tension knob right here. So we're just going to come through, go up and around, and we're going to catch this little wire latch right here. And then we're going to pull down and go under this lever right here, and then go straight up through this guide right here. So just to kind of go over that one more time, we did our little loop-de-doops, went through our pre-tension disc down to our actual tension disc. We caught our latch wire, and then we caught this bar right here. Now we're going to go up, and we're going to go through our upper looper. So there is a little hole that you will feed that thread through. And then we'll pull down. We'll go again through that little latch right there. And then we're going to go into this hole right here. Pull that thread through. And then just like every other machine that's out there, there is a little bar above your needle here, right? And so we're going to go above the eye of the needle. And then our last step is we will thread the needle. Now you do have a built-in needle threader, which is really nice. So sometimes if you struggle threading that needle manually, you could use this little needle threader. We'll come through like that, turn to the side, and catch that thread. Pull up, and that gives us a little loop that we could pull through our thread just like that. And now we threaded our machine. Now, I want to talk about one key difference here, and it's going to be in this spot right here. So if you are somebody that is a bag maker and you are like me, you like to use a heavy-duty top stitching thread. Now, I use heavy-duty thread on a lot of my projects, whether it's bags or even like my jacket that I made recently. So I use this 30 weight thread here. So what I'm actually able to do is go through this little hole right here.
Hold on.
Oh, okay, we'll
Sorry.
zoom in. There is a little hole right here that I can actually go through before I go down in. And then as I'm coming up, I can go in and out of this hole as well. And what that does is that adds a little bit of extra tension that you need for when you use these super heavyweight threads. So being able to go through that guide instead of messing with your tension wheel is really nice and very helpful if you want to use those thicker weight threads to elevate your projects. So that's another little thing. So there is 2 separate ways you could thread it. The way I showed is going to be for all of your general use sewing, but it is really nice that you have that extra spot for metallic thread and then heavy duty top stitching thread.
So we have a couple questions too. Does it have a picture on the bobbin plate, I think, of how to load the bobbin?
So it has a picture that shows taking out this plate here, but there isn't a picture specifically on this machine that shows it, but it is in the manual that comes with the machine.
And then does this machine need oiled?
So yeah, like the other Berninas, this Bernette, every now and then, you don't need to oil this all the time. However, every now and then, with any machine like this that is considered a semi-industrial or single needle straight stitch, you usually want to put a drop of oil along here just every now and then. You don't want to over oil it, just, maybe I'd say maybe like every month. Maybe some people would consider that too little, but you really don't have to worry about oiling it too much. So just right along the inner edge, like you would kind of do with your Berninas, because they have that side loading bobbin as well. So let me show you guys some of the cool features with this machine specifically. So let's get this set up for sewing. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm actually going to insert my knee lift. So I use this all the time. Now, the reason I like this is going to free up both of my hands. So this way, whenever I am sewing, I can use my knee to push against this to raise and lower the presser foot. And on other machines, you might have a button, but then you're taking your hands off of that fabric. And if you're doing something like precision piecing, so this is something that I spent probably a little too much time on early this morning before I came in. However, I cut out a bunch of tiny little 1-inch squares and I started piecing them together because I'm going to kind of explain to you about the feed dog system specifically on this machine. But because I was doing that, I like to use my freehand system with my knee lift to kind of raise and lower whenever I'm taking out, so I could really keep everything fed through and make sure that nothing shifts on me. But yeah, so that's something that I really like about the feed dog system, which I'm going to take off the presser foot to show you guys. I'm going to grab this little screwdriver right here. So on a lot of our, other machines, like our combo machines or our other machines that do like a zigzag or decorative stitches, you usually have anywhere from 5 to 7 points of feed. Now with this straight stitch only machine, you have 3 points of feed, and you might say, well, John, isn't that less feeding the fabric through? And I want to make a very comparable difference. So using this type of feed dog system, I say, is like driving a sports car. You have your drive in the back, you're able to go really fast, but also this allows for very precise precision control. Because when we are doing our 1/4 inch seam allowances along the edge, when you have a lot of extra feed dogs, that's pulling through that whole piece of fabric and sometimes can cause that to shift when you're trying to do something like maybe a curve on a bag or an armhole sleeve, or working with one of those delicate fabrics, And then our other feed dog systems, like 5 points of feed or 7 points of feed that you'll find on, the Berninas or Baby Lock Brothers, that's kind of like all-wheel drive on your car. It's good, but sometimes for more precision things, you want to have these feed dogs that are a lot closer. And now because you only have that single hole right there on your stitch plate, there's going to be no shifting of your needle. So you're not going to have any wonky stitches or anything that kind of moves slightly to the side. You're going to have the most precise straight stitch ever. So I'm going to put that foot back on, and then we're actually going to start sewing something. I'm going to show you some of the features that you have on this. So let me tighten our foot here. And one of the things I really, really like about this straight stitch machine is that it uses all of these high shank feet, which I really like. And I have a lot of different ones I'm going to show you. But one of the big things that I like about them is that they are narrow. Whenever we're working with those really small seam allowances, sometimes those big bulky feet, you can't see what you're sewing with or if you're perfectly lined up with a 1/4 inch. So you're really able to be super precise with these type of feet. Even like the zipper feet that I'm going to show a little later. So you get the standard straight stitch foot with your Burdette. And then I believe you do also get the narrow straight stitch foot as well, which is super narrow, but that is perfect whenever we're doing things like zippers, which I'm going to show you a little bit later. And then I'm also going to go ahead and put on our extension table. Now, I love that this does come with the extension table. You guys know I'm a big fan of always using one if you have it available, just because it really extends your workspace, and then everything is nice and flat whenever you're stitching. And this part also flips up so that you can easily access the bobbin area. And so let's just stitch something here. I have a piece of denim. This machine has an amazing amount of strength. I could probably roll this up 10 times and go over it, but I'm going to do that with a piece of leather instead. So whenever we start sewing here, I can use that freehand system, lift up my foot here with my knee, and then I can start stitching. And our back stitch is going to be this little lever right here. So that reverses our feed dogs for us. And then I also have my speed control on, and I even have a needle position up and down button. So if I want my needle to go down in the fabric when I'm done stitching, I could set it with that if I want. And then our last little thing here as well is we have our stitch length knob on the side of the machine right here. So let's do a stitch length of 3 for sewing through denim. And so I could begin and end. And then we also have very clear defined points of seam allowances on this needle plate right here. So if we could even zoom in, I could line this precisely up at 1/4 of an inch, 3/8, 1/2 of an inch, 5/8, 3/4. And then we also have a metric system in the front. But sometimes it's a little harder to find those certain positions on our other machines. So it's pretty defined right here with all of those notches. So we could begin and end our seam here. And then, as we all know, one of the best features that you could have on any single sewing machine is being able to press this button and it cuts our threads for us. That way we're not pulling out a huge mess of tangled out threads every single time we go to sew. And that was a really nice, beautiful straight stitch right there. Now, let's say I want to, really roll up the denim here. I could go through a lot of layers and you could go really fast with this machine. So I have my speed control on, but I could go all the way up. And I can go super fast through all of those layers because you have that really strong motor that not only gives you speed, but also the amount of torque that you need to go through really heavy layers. And then also, I want to show going over leather. Now, in this case, I like to put a Teflon foot on, just like we would with any of our other machines here. I like to put a Teflon foot whenever I go over some of those really, materials like vinyl or faux leather. So I'm actually going to use this one out of the 1 foot set here that we have available for it. And then I'm also going to show you guys some individual feet. And what's nice is all of these feet are going to be compatible with any other straight stitch only machine. Oh, somebody took the Teflon foot out of the one. Oh no. Well, I have another one that I could use, so that's okay. Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh wait, here it is. Okay, so I'm going to use my Teflon foot because it's a non-stick foot. So let's go ahead and put that on here. And then let's go over, I lost count. I think that was 6 or 7 layers. That's a good thing if I lose count. I don't even know what size needle I have it. I might want to increase my stitch length for this, so let's do like 4.5 for top stitching length. And then just like that, let me reverse. I'm going to have my needle position set for down. And then I could use my knee lift to pivot. Maybe I'll take a couple stitches. And stitch right through all of those super heavy layers with absolute precision. So that's something that I know a lot of our other machines could struggle. So it's something that I really love about how the strength is with these machines, just with the accuracy of your stitch. I mean, all of those layers with absolute precision. So especially if you are a bag maker or you like to make garments like myself, this is a wonderful machine to add in your sewing room. I always say it's a machine that you want to have as an addition. And then even if you're looking at upgrading to, a new machine, maybe you have an old Sears Kenmore, it might be time to upgrade to a new one that you could use more options of feet and have a better feed dog system. Now, I want to show you some of the other really cool things that you could do with this machine, because this machine isn't designed only for, bag makers and garment sewers like myself, but also quilters. And this is something really cool that you have here. So you have this attachment plate right here that you can actually use your serger attachments for. So I'm going to show you guys setting one up to do your double fold bias binding with. And I'm actually going to even use a baby lock attachment here. So I have, and I'm going to switch to the overhead really quickly, I have our double fold bias binder for 1.5 inches. So it's the 36 millimeter one. And so I'm just going to take it out, and then I grab these 2 attachment screws. Now these 2 don't come with the bias binder. I just want to give that as a heads up. And I'm going to attach this to the plate of the machine. And then I am going to feed through my bias binding. And then I am going to bind just a straight edge of the quilt. And then I'm going to show you guys another way that you could do it, because there's 2 ways you could do it. One of the ways is we could curve our edges if we want continuous, or you could do straight edges, go off the edge continuously, and then you'll just have to seam rip a little bit so that you can miter those corners, but you'll have perfect binding either way. So let's get this set up over here. And I'm going to put my regular foot back on, take off my Teflon foot. I think I left my screwdriver up here. And there's so many different attachments that you could use with these straight stitch only machines. What I like is that they're all universal. So if you already do have one, a lot of the feet that I'm going to show a little bit are going to be compatible with yours as well. So let's go ahead and put this on here. And then we're going to attach our bias binder right here. And I'm going to screw this in. And we're just going to do a little test strip first. You just want to make sure that you set this up in the perfect spot so that it's going to feed right along the edge of that seam allowance. And so whenever we cut our bias binding strips, we're going to feed it through here. You can use a little pair of tweezers here to kind of get this started. And then it's going to fold that for us. And then let's just start this a little bit, make sure we have this lined up right. We want to make sure that both edges are folding over, catching. You might have to adjust this a little bit side to side to get it perfect. I think I have this in a pretty good spot right here. So let's take my quilt block, and let's just say this was, the edge of my quilt here, or maybe I'm doing a little hot pad. I can run this through this attachment and attach this with a straight stitch here. And just make sure that you keep some slack on this. You don't want it to accidentally get messed up feeding through there. I should take some of the stuff off my extension table here. And then just feed that through right along that edge. And then if you're doing straight edge corners, go about a couple inches off, because we'll just trim that, because we'll be able to connect those later. I'm not going to show that specifically today. I need actual scissors for that. But I am going to show it another one of these nights, because there is that mitered binding, or the tool that you could use to line these up perfectly so that you could sew them together. But we'd probably just seam rip a little bit in and be able to go over that. The other method is doing a curved edge on your quilt, where you could kind of go off of it and then easily finish off just by tucking in the very end and stitching over it. But just like that, perfect binding. And you're not limited to just quilts with that. That's binding the edges of your inside seams with your bags, your garments, so many other things. I absolutely love that you could use these serger attachments with this straight stitch here and have a perfect stitch every single time. One of the best things ever. So I am going to take this back off now, and I'm going to show you guys a couple different feet over on the overhead and then also demo them. I am going to grab that screwdriver that I dropped because I'm going to need that in a minute too. So let's go to the overhead here, because I actually have a couple different foot sets that you guys could shop and get with us today. And I'm also going to show. Because what I love too is that you have so many different options of feet that we just don't have, that they haven't engineered yet for whatever reason for our other regular sewing machines. So there's compensating feet. You have super narrow zipper feet that really let you get up right next to the zipper. We have Teflon roller feet, which are perfect for working with some of the hardest materials, like a Sherpa bonded suede. And then one of my other favorites is the guide feet. You know, we have our 1/4 inch one, but we also have other sizes like 1/16 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to demo these by the sets that I have them in. And let's start off with my current favorite one, which is the Teflon roller foot. And it's also a spring action in the back. So this is something that's really cool because it's going to help compensate. But sometimes we're quilting with, you know, even some of those slippery fabrics. I recently made a bag that I had to use this specific foot for just because a walking foot wasn't doing the job. But even using Sherpa bonded suede, which I'm currently working on another project with, and I've been using this foot and it has just made my life so much easier. So I'm going to attach this on the machine real quick and then show you guys how this one works. And let me actually grab that screwdriver real quick that I dropped. If I could find that. Probably not.
Here. Where, do you know where it's at?
Really went under there. That is my luck. Do I have another one? Maybe I could use the edge of this. Let me grab that real quick. So.
Oh, it's over there.
Is it on this side? Hey, we always get a laugh whenever you're here watching with us. You guys see all the mistakes that we make. So let me see if I have another one here that is flathead. So you know what? I saw a comment from Carrie, so I'm going to answer that real quick. Which machines is that foot going to fit? It's going to fit any single needle straight stitch machine. So what's really nice about all these feet I'm going to show is they are universal, which is something nice. So seems like every brand has their own version of the straight stitch machine. However, I'm really liking the Bernina one the best because of the accessories and features that you have with it that some of the other ones don't. So let me go ahead and grab that from under here really quickly because I have to find that. So I can switch the foot and then we'll show that. I do see it is on the very end. This is what happens with me, guys. You know I've lost every single screwdriver in these buildings here. So I'm going to just grab a roller so I could slide it out from underneath.
Do you want to talk about stuff while I try to get it?
Here, I got it real quick.
Okay.
This will be like the bloopers highlight for 2026. Bloopers highlight. Okay, you know what?
Do you want me to try
Yeah,
to get
because
it?
I'm going to talk about some of the other things that I have that Steve didn't show yet. So maybe Kate could come in here for a second. Because I will talk about a little bit of the big book of feet while we get that, because I dropped the screwdriver in the worst possible spot. But let's talk about the big book of feet real quick. So this is from Bernina. So this is for all of the Bernina machines, which it talks all about the different types of feet that there are. So, you know, it really shows about the different techniques that you could use, the different feet, and showing some of the more usable functions with them, like the narrow zipper feet. But also, one of my favorite ones is going to be 52D, the edge joining foot, which it shows all the different techniques with. So this is a really good book if you do have a Bernina, because it goes over all of them and it's like a quick reference guide, which I really, really like. Okay, Sophie got the screwdriver. Sorry about that, guys, but we can make that our bloopers post for 2026 at the end of the year. So I think that's going to be super funny. Now, with our Teflon roller foot, one of my absolute favorites. Let's put this on here. So this foot will work with other likewise straight stitch machine models, but let's go ahead and take our piece of Sherpa bonded suede. This is a really, really difficult material to work with because when you're trying to feed through this Sherpa here, on other machines, it will definitely get caught in the feed dogs. I have had it happen to me. But with this specific foot, it goes through really, really easily. So let me get my foot out of here. And then it just feeds through. And we could see how, because it's a Teflon foot, it's going to be non-stick. But that roller in the back is going to help feed through that fur. So really accessible. Now, let's cut our threads here. And let's actually press this to the side and top stitch it. This is where that Teflon part really comes in handy here, because I can easily go through the bulk of that seam with confidence. So it's a really nice brand new foot, and that's just something I like, is you have all these different options of feet that you could use. And I can top stitch that really, really nicely. So I'm just gonna cut those there. And then I'm gonna show some of the other feet that I really like as well while I'm over here. So the next one is going to be the compensating feet. So this is actually going to be a 2-pack set, which I really, really like and enjoy because you have both a left side and a right side. And I use these feet all of the time whenever I'm doing any of my denim seams to have a perfect edge stitch every single time. So I have a piece of denim that I sewed a seam with, and I press the seam allowance to one side, and I am going to go ahead and put on my compensating foot, because what we'll see here is that the one side will actually embed on the opposite side that the seam's pressed to prevent it from moving over at all. But what's nice is because it's spring action, if maybe I did have another seam I was going through, it will help climb over those seams. So we can begin sewing here, and we can see that that foot is going to prevent this fabric from shifting over to the other side to have an absolutely perfect and flawless stitch. Now, they don't make a compensating foot for any of our other machines. I have not seen one, and it's something that I use all the time. So really, really great accessory there. Now, another one of the feet I'm also going to talk about as well is going to be our narrow zipper feet. Something that I absolutely live by because this foot is absolutely amazing. It's a must-have in my opinion. So with our narrow zipper feet, we do have a left and a right side, and both come in the one in the bundle. So you're actually going to get both feet. So let's go ahead and put this on. And I use these feet a lot too, for not just zippers, but edge stitching, sometimes doing really, really small seam allowances, like, you know, not only 1/4 inch, but like 3/8, and also top stitching as well. But let's use it with a zipper here. So we'll tighten that foot real quick. And then let's just take the one end of our zipper here, lay some fabric along it. In fact, let me use this fabric right here. Because I can line up really close to the edge of that zipper. I mean, super, super close, and I don't have to worry about shifting the needle, worrying if I'm gonna be a stitch or two off. And I can just easily line that up right along there. Now I did use a much longer zipper here than what I grabbed, so I just kind of am doing this on the fly. But I was able to stitch really close to that without accidentally stitching over the zipper. And then I can use that same exact foot here to top stitch right along the edge of that. So maybe I'll decrease my length a little bit. Let's do a 3 here. And I can just really line up this foot right along the edge of that fabric. Now what I would probably do is I'd probably give this a nice press first, just to make sure everything's nice and flat. But very, very precisely, I'm able to stitch right along that edge. Because I'm also able to see kind of everything that's going on with the zipper here on the other side. So it gives me a lot of sight with my fabric. Lift up, and once again, perfectly along the edge. And now the last foot that I actually have too, or well, foot set, is going to be this 3-pack here of our guide feet. So for all the quilters out there, you'll probably love the 1/4 inch one the best. In fact, that's the one I actually use the most of half the time. But you also have this 1/8 inch one and 1/16 inch one for if you are using it like the compensating foot, but maybe you want your stitch a little bit closer to the edge, right? So this is a great foot to use because it has that nice curved guide. But let's use the 1/4 inch one here. And then, oh, I don't think I grabbed any quilting cotton. Let me cut 2 pieces of fabric really quickly. Maybe I'll use 2 pieces of denim right here since that's what I have. So I can easily use that as a nice guide, just as my 1/4 inch foot as I regularly would. You know, that guide does prevent that fabric from going over, and I have an absolute perfect 1/4 inch every single time. Just like that. And then with these ones, because this guide's a little bit thicker, I'm able to use those ones for top stitching as well. So if I need to go back over that seam a little bit and line right up, I'm able to do so using that same exact foot, just like that. And I can top stitch that fabric a nice 1/4 inch away. So really, really great feet that you could use. It's definitely a different feel, and that's what I absolutely love about these straight stitch machines is the power that they have, the different feet that you could use, and it's just such a nice addition to anybody's sewing room, especially if you want to get into some more heavy duty stuff or projects that you need a lot more precision with. So I do want to mention that these machines are on special for this month. Regularly, the Bernina 8 is about $3,000 and it's on sale this month for $19.99. So if you're interested in one or you want any more information, give us a call at 412-344-2330. Option 2 will take you to Steve or myself. And if you are local, I'm more than happy to set up a demo with you guys for you to see it on hands-on in person. And I would love to talk to you about all of the different features that you could do with it. So, but I have a couple other things I'm going to show real quick, and then we're going to log off for the day. So the other part I was talking about when doing that binding with that straight stitch machine, right, is actually using one of these curved templates here. So we would use this ruler and kind of line it up to cut a really nice curve so that we could actually do our binding a little bit easier without having to do strips and seam rip it, so that you can overlap it really, really nicely, right? And then not have to worry about doing any mitered corners for your quilts. So this is the boxed bag template if you want to do binding that way. I think I'm going to actually show this Thursday night in person so that you guys could see a little bit more with it. And then I have a couple other foot sets for the Bernette specifically, but this will also work with any other single needle straight stitch machine. So the first one I want to show is the DIY sewing kit, because you get a lot of the feet that you really need and want specifically with this set. And I did steal one of them out of there. So let me grab the Teflon foot. So you get your leather roller foot. So if you are working with really heavy layers of, leather, and you're kind of doing something to mimic one of those saddle stitches for that full grain leather, you could use this foot because it doesn't score that fabric but helps really feed it through. And it's also adjustable a little bit as well with these two screws here to kind of pull this in a little bit closer to the needle or side. And then we have our invisible zipper foot, our Teflon foot. We also have a different version of a bias binder foot. And then we have rolled hem along with another straight stitch foot, and then an adjustable zipper foot. So this is a really nice foot set to have if you get one of these machines or similar ones, just because they help really make the process a lot easier. Like I always say, it's usually the foot is what makes the difference in the quality of, your project. So having the right feet is like having the right tools necessary in order to do a lot of them. Now, the other set that I have here is going to be the quilt making set. So there's some really cool feet in here too. So we have our quilt guide that we could use. And you can even use this whenever you are doing different rows of top stitching or as a seam allowance. So I like that a lot. And then you have two different versions of feet. So this is a different style of 1/4 inch foot. So it's not as thick as the guide, it's a thinner guide that a lot of us might be more familiar with. And we even get a stitch in the ditch foot as well. And then you also have a foot for free motion quilting with this that has different interchangeable feet. So maybe if you're doing roller work, or if you need a open toe foot, or even a separate open toe foot, because one is, one goes the opposite way and then one goes to the front. So, but it's a really nice and unique foot set. Honestly, before even seeing this, I wasn't even sure before today that they even had a free motion foot for these machines, which I think is really cool. I've seen some really cool things being done with that, with darning, with thread painting. So, and then our last few things that we have, I'm not sure what Steve didn't show, but I think there was one thing I had left, or maybe I did show everything. Did Steve show all the hoops and the iron?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, maybe not the iron.
This one right here?
The red one.
yeah, let me hold up this beautiful little red iron right here. So if you are looking for a brand new iron for on the go, there is the brand new Panasonic iron here. And this is the mini one. So I have the green one right next to me, and I do really like this one, especially for when you're on the go. But this is the brand new cranberry red version. I don't think it's called cranberry red, but it looks like a nice cranberry and it matches my shirt today. But they're really lightweight. They stay on until you turn them off, and they're really nice too because they're compact and portable. So, and along with that, I do want to mention that everything I showed today was 10% back, excluding the machines. But I would definitely want to take advantage on that sale with the Burnett. It is such a lovely machine. And same with that 790 Pro Steve showed. Both of those would have a spot in my sewing room back at home. I would make the room for them. They are absolutely lovely machines. But if you do have any questions, feel free, to reach out to Steve or I at 412-344-2330. Select option 2 and that will take you to us. But that is all we have for you guys today. I'm going to be back on tomorrow at 12 o'clock with our brother show. I have a really fun demo for you guys showing a lot of the different features on Artspira. So make sure you tune into that. But I hope that everyone else has a wonderful day. Happy sewing and make some fun projects. Bye-bye, everyone.